Guys, and welcome to our next tutorial or example of Visual Basics, which is the Open File Dialog. And previously in our last video we have actually covered about Open File Dialogs in displaying an image. So in this example I'll be looking into Open File Dialog, but this time I'll be actually displaying the file names. So what we need to do is, as you can see here, I have already designed the form in a way that I actually want to show it how you can actually do it, where we have two rich text box, and each of these is rich text box 1, as you can see in the properties here, and rich text box 2. I also put in 3 buttons. The button 1 is actually given the name get single file, and I put the name btn get file here. And this button here is to get more than one files, and I put it here button many. And here the button 3, which I already put the name as clear, is to just clear the content within the rich text box. So what we're going to do now, and of course it really depends on how you design your form, but I prefer to do it in this way so that we can actually see on how we can actually use this function. So we go into the button 1, and what we need to do here is, before we do any code, I have to put in the open file dialog. Control, put it into the form. We have this, and once this is in, we can start declaring open file dialogs properties. I'm just going to put in the title get single file and put in the open. Once we have this, I'm just going to declare a variable dim file name as string, because we will be using this property to put in, to get in the value of the name of the file. So once we have this, we have to put in the if function. If, let's say, the open file dialog 1 show dialog has already selected the file, and we say that this is the file that we want, so we put in a dialog result. Okay, then what we need to do is we need to attach the variable of the string to the open file dialog's result. So we put in as file name is actually equals to the open file dialog that we have already selected the file. And what we're going to do is we have two options to display the name. One is the save file name, and the other one is file name. So I'm just going to show you the difference. I'm going to put in file name first. Once I put in the file name, and then I have to display this in the rich text box 1. So I'm going to put it append text file name, and I put in the VB new line to actually help me make a new line whenever another input is actually going into the text box. So once we have this, I'm just going to run this, and I just click the button here, and you can see the title is get single file, and my file is already here, is in image desktop. I'm just going to select this file, and it returns you the value of string that says that this file is currently in a folder of image and in the desktop. So it actually gives you the information of where the file is and the name of the file. So what if I change this into save file name? If I change this to save file name and I select the same file, it will return me only the name of the file together with the extension, with the type of the file. So that's actually two differences that you can actually see in using the file name and save file name. And next is what we're going to do is we're going to see on how we're going to get as many files. So as usual, you have to go into open file dialog 1. I'm just going to put in the title here, get many files, and of course we're going to select more than one file. I have to make sure that the multi-select option is enabled. So is enabled true. I'm going to put it true here. So multi-select is actually true, and we have to declare variables for us to put in the number of files that we get. So I'm just going to put in file names, and I'm going to put this semicolon symbol here, it is actually to indicate that I will be selecting more than one file. So it's more like you're declaring your variable as an array to put that into the collection of the variables. And then we can proceed to if the OpenFileDialog.show dialog, which is the dialog that we have selected several files. Dialog result is okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in the variable file names is actually equals to OpenFileDialog dot file names. As you can see here, there's actually a singular sentence, singular properties and a plural properties. When you see the word file names, it actually represents that there is an indication with more than one files. So I'm just going to put file names here, and I'm just going to put in as once we have many file names, this is where I'll be using another statement called for each statement. For each statement is actually a statement that you can actually use to run an array of statements or several statements. It's also like a loop statement similar to if and for and next. So what we're going to do is for every file that you have selected. So for each, the statement starts with for each and ends with next. So for each file in the arrays of file names for each of the files that you have selected, and when you click enter, it will actually end with the statement next here. And what you need to do is for every files that you have selected and put into each of these files, you can put the rich text box here dot append text file, because we have already put in the local variable here as file. So just put file and plus with the VB new line. So if you put in the VB new line, then you can see that each of the file has been arranged in a way and accordingly. So we're going to run this start, and we're going to press get many files. Since we have already selected multi-selects in the OpenFileDialog, you can actually select more than one files here. Once you have selected here, I'm just going to click open, and you can see that my files right now is actually being displayed together with the locations of the file and the name of the file. And of course, in the clear button, what I can do is I'm just going to put rich text box 1 clear, and of course rich text box 2 clear. So this is actually a very easy example on displaying file names. I'm just going to put in a save file names in your displaying many file function and just run the thing. And you can see I'm just going to select one file here. It's in here, get many files. I can select as much file as you want and click open, and you can see that many files here is actually being selected. So this is a very simple example on how you can actually use OpenFileDialog to display file names as well. So thank you for watching, and hope that you actually subscribe my videos in the future. And thank you for your time. Goodbye.